expansion at E3 2016. I will tell you why in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below and don't forget to hit that like button. The Horizon Zero Dawn DLC is announced, but when will we see it? When will we see the first gameplay and know what it's all about? What can we expect? Well, probably at E3 2016, if the recent DLC announcements from Sony are any indication. Sony likes to announce a big expansion for their big exclusive games at press conferences or big shows. They feel these announcements should be a part of the other huge announcements. We recently saw this with the Uncharted The Lost Legacy announcement. Of course, this is the standalone story expansion for Uncharted 4. This was announced during the PlayStation Experience 2016. This was a little over half a year after Uncharted 4 launched. The DLC is slated to release in 2017. My bet is September, but nothing is sure right now. A huge DLC that released in the same year as the game was the Old Hunters for Bloodborne. Sony announced this content during their Tokyo Game Show press conference with a release for November. This makes sense since Bloodborne is a game developed by a Japanese studio and also has a big following in that country. Horizon did fine in Japan, but Guerrilla Games is of course a European studio. And also if we look at how this game was announced at E3 2015, then again shown with a new trailer before E3 2016 started, makes me think that the story expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn will see the first gameplay in June during this big gaming event, the E3. And this will not be the first time that Sony showed a big story expansion or other piece of big DLC for a PS4 exclusive at E3. Infamous Second Son released on March 21st, and the story expansion Infamous First Light was announced on June 9th during E3 2014, to then later launch on the 26th of August. I can totally see this happening with Horizon Zero Dawn as well. Horizon Zero Dawn released even earlier than Infamous, giving them even more time to prepare a trailer. While Uncharted, with the trailer at PlayStation Experience 2016, released in May, so an Uncharted The Lost Legacy trailer at E3 would have been too soon. But there's more. I already discussed this in the Horizon Zero Dawn Arena video, check it out if you haven't already, and that's the Killzone Shadowfall Intercept DLC. That's the only paid DLC for the previous Guerrilla Games PS4 game. You never guess when that trailer for that piece of DLC was shown. Yeah, E3 2014. Guerrilla Games and E3 announcements go hand in hand. The timing seemed to be right, especially if they want to release the DLC this year, and I think they will. More about that in another video where I will discuss the potential release date for this story expansion. So while the DLC could be announced earlier via a blog post on the PlayStation blog, I think that gameplay or at least a trailer will be shown during E3 2017. But the question is, will it be during the E3 2017 press conference or not? I talked about the Infamous First Light trailer and the trailer for Killzone Shadowfall, the Intercept DLC. They were both released during E3 2014, but only Infamous First Light was shown during the press conference, while Killzone just got an E3 2014 trailer but wasn't at the show. Personally, I think though that Horizon Zero Dawn is bigger than Killzone Shadowfall. This is a huge win for Sony, and I think that they want to give this game some attention during their big show. On the other hand, the E3 2016 show was also really only about huge announcements. A Death Stranding trailer, the God of War announcement, Days Gone, we saw Spider-Man for the first time, Resident Evil 7, and what's interesting is that the trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn was shown in the week before the show, before the press conference. So they didn't give attention to this huge new IP, this huge game that wasn't even out yet. And that's really weird because normally you want to show the games that aren't even out yet, that people want to buy to get some hype. This was the last E3 before Horizon Zero Dawn was launched, but still they decided to not show it at E3. To be fair, it was playable, so it still got coverage, but it was not at the E3 2016 press conference. And let's be honest, last year's E3 2016 press conference from Sony was just insane. It was trailer after trailer with only a few words, and that totally paid off. And there are a ton of interesting PS4 games coming up, so why will Sony not do this again? I can totally see them doing it again, even only by showing new gameplay from big upcoming games and also announcing some new ones to generate some surprises again. Can Horizon Zero Dawn DLC gameplay fit in between that? I think it's really hard. I mean, for me, obviously it is. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. But when Infamous First Light was announced during the Sony press conference at E3 2014, they didn't really have the big hitters that they have right now. So then they needed something to talk about. Now we're well into the console life cycle of the PS4, so it's different. It's also that you don't want the DLC of a game that people already know. Still, it's a big deal maybe for us, we are really Horizon Zero Dawn fans, but maybe not for a lot of people watching the show. And you don't want this DLC to go under in the other game announcements or gameplay reveals. While I don't think it would happen, it could be that what if they showed The Last of Us Part 2 gameplay, then everyone would be talking about that and not the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. Personally, I think that we will see the Horizon Zero Dawn story expansion like gameplay, some trailer before the E3, but it will still be called Horizon Zero Dawn story expansion trailer E3 2017, something like that. That's my bet. But what do you think? When will we hear more and see a trailer for the Horizon Zero Dawn story DLC? It could also be that they do a blog post in May and then say, yeah, we have some gameplay to show during E3. That could also be the